Hello, everyone, and welcome to the JG Show. I'm Joey Guden, and this is episode 7. In this show, I am speaking with Nora Lewis, former Stanbridge Academy and Notre Dame student. Welcome, Nora. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you are too. It's an honor. So, before we, obviously I have a lot of questions for you today, but before we get into that, why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
So, I'm Nora Lewis. I graduated from Stanbridge almost 10 years ago, which is crazy, in 2014. And I've been, I'm really creative and I love art, and I'm glad to be here. So, yeah.
That is awesome. Wow. It's been 10 years since you graduated. Time flies. Time flies. It is crazy.
It is. It's like, I can't believe it. I was just talking to Naveen, who was in my graduating class, and we saw each other a couple of days ago, and I was like, we were like, how is it 10 years since we both graduated?
I know, that's crazy. I actually remember Naveen. He was he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
So, Nora, since you graduated Stanbridge and all, it's been 10 years. What have you been up to? What have you been up to lately?
So this has been like crazy. So I went to Notre Dame for a year. It wasn't just my field. I was like, okay, this is cool. I wanted to get the college experience, but then it turned out to be like more of a commuter school, which is like people didn't live on campus, so I didn't really get the college experience. So my parents and we looked into an independent living program in Pleasant Hill at the time. Now it's closed because COVID happened. But I ended up going to that program and loving it, and just, trying to figure out what the heck my next steps are. I ended up going to Diablo Valley College in Pleasant Hill for a long time. But I'm now happy to say that I got an associate degree in special education, because that's kind of my calling.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Well, congratulations on that.
I got it during COVID, which was irritating, but that's yeah.
Yep.
But, and then also because of that, COVID, when COVID happened, everything shut down. I was trying to look for work right after COVID, which I was like, I want to get a job with a degree or whatever, using my degree. And then 2 years ago, which is crazy for me, I got this job with Regional Center of the East Bay. I think my job coach or whatever, she was like, yeah, you should apply to this job. It works for people with disabilities. And I was like, okay. And I went for it, and I've had it for 2 years, and I saw this program grow and whatnot. So it started off as a pilot program with me and a couple of my other friends, and now there's only 2 OG ambassadors left on our team. So that's kind of crazy.
Wow. Sounds like you've been up to a lot.
Yes. I've seen this program evolve and change into a full-blown program. And I think it was last week, we have a social media intern for our program now. And now we have a LinkedIn page, which they posted they interviewed me, which was kind of cool. And, I've had this job for 2 years and I love it. And
that is very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like it definitely sounds like you've been up to a lot, which is awesome. I'm glad to see that you've been doing so well.
Yeah.
So I have to ask you, looking back in retrospect, I know it's been a long time.
Yes.
But what are like some of your favorite memories from Stanbridge?
Oh, jeez. Oh, gosh. Okay. I've always been like being the artsy person. I love doing art classes with Camille. She's been like, she was a huge mentor to me at Stanbridge. I think I had her for 3 years. I don't remember how long I've had her, but and then also I love all the outdoor ed trips, because for me, like I like hiking and stuff like that, but to an extent. But the outdoor education trips, they really, really like they push me my boundaries a lot. So I love going to the Yosemite trips. I don't really like the camping part, but when we are like glamping, I was fine with it. So those are
Yeah.
probably my two things. So
The,
yeah.
that was, I'll be honest with you. As far as the experientials go, I have to agree with you. I feel like, because I went on plenty of the outdoor trips myself, and I have to say, I think that like being a Stanbridge student, I think that was, I have to say, I think that was just one of the highlights of being a student there. I think it's what made
Yeah.
the fact that we got to do that twice a year is what really, I think, made that school unique amongst all the other private schools in that legion.
I have to agree because for me, like, um, especially with the Yosemite trip, when it's just seniors and whatnot, it's a good way to kind of bond as a class. Like, we
Yes.
really bonded as a class because there was only 8 of us, me and Catherine, but we're the two girls. Like, we're like half of the girl pop. Each one of us were half of the girl population when I graduated, and there was 6 boys. So it's like I kind of had to like I was able because I'm a little more tomboyish. So
Uh huh.
I really bonded with the guys. Like whenever Catherine, she'd be like, "Oh, I'm so tired from all our hiking," and the boys and I, we just caught up and we really bonded as a class.
That is awesome, and that was one of the biggest things about those trips. You got to bond with your peers. You were, I mean, for many of those kids at the time, it was the first time they were away from their parents. When you really think about it,
Yeah,
but I think they did it. They did it in a way that it wasn't too intimidating, so to speak.
yeah, like they did it like so we're able to like a lot of the trips. I remember like we did a lot of team bonding and like especially with the seniors when we went on the Yosemite trip, we did like a lot of team bonding exercises. Like we had to like do stuff, work together and that for me was a huge part. And yeah, so yeah.
Well, I must say, those are some core memories right there. They really are.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Now, I will ask you, after you graduated, was it hard for you to transition from Stanbridge to college?
It was definitely an adjustment because my first, like me and my parents, we originally were like, I'm gonna go to a 4-year school. I'm gonna get the college experience, like living on campus, joining like, a bunch of like clubs and stuff like that. But when I went to Notre Dame, it like I said, it felt like more like a commuter school, and I wasn't getting that really college experience. And originally, I wasn't gonna go to community college, but then I realized I was like, this is like community college, like it like I bonded a lot with my classmates. Like I still talk to people from my special education classes. I still have a bunch of people I still talk to. So that for me was a huge takeaway for me.
Well, it's good to hear that you've stayed in touch with a lot of them.
Yeah.
So, if they now we have a lot of believe it or not, we have a lot of high school students that are watching this show. So, if a high school student was watching this show right now, what advice would you have for them experiencing all these things yourself?
Um, don't bring it. I mean, oh, geez. One thing that I would say is like kind of figure out don't be afraid to try stuff. Like for me, it was like trial and error. So it's like I didn't like the commuter school thing. So I was like, okay, I tried that. My mom and dad were really supportive. So just don't be afraid to experiment and find what you love at this point. Because now looking back, like I want to be a full-blood teacher at this point, but then it's like now I move myself into special ed and becoming a paraeducator, which is really for me, that's like I've kind of found my voice and I found who I really am truly wanting to become with my life. So yeah.
All right, that's perfect. I think actually that's some really, really good advice for them. Basically, just don't be afraid to get out there, don't look down, try new things. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Very, very
I
sound
kind of
advice, Nora.
explain what my job is because everyone doesn't know what my job is, my title.
Yeah, what is your
Everyone
job?
always gets confused what I am. So what I am is what is called a specialty health ambassador. So basically, me and a group of 11 of us, there's 11 of us, there's four level one specialty health ambassadors. We call them Shaws for short. Um, and we have five trainees. So there's like, well, I can't do math, but anyway, so there's a bunch of us who go out in the community and we set up tables at different events. So, for example, we have a table going on right now near my apartment at the farmers market. So what we do is we have these resources for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we connect them. We're kind of the middleman to people with disabilities. So some people, especially in this Hispanic communities, that's typically what one of our target audience is the more Hispanic communities because they might not realize, oh, my child may have autism or my child may have Down syndrome. So we typically target the Hispanic and Latinx communities, but then we also go to more lower socioeconomic areas. So it's like we go out to Richmond, Pinole was a big one, Pittsburgh. So we focus more on the lower economic areas.
Oh, that makes sense. You guys focus on you guys focus on the lower income areas. I see. I see.
Yes.
Well, they are the ones that need it the most, so I
Yes.
think that's a good thing.
Yes, it is, and I love it. And I remember when I first started a job 2 years ago, which is crazy that I've had this job for 2 years. Um, I was super shy and introverted, like not wanting to talk, like wanted to be like blending into the background. I was like so introverted, and now it's like I've gotten so much confidence in myself from the job that I can go out and do presentations, but also having some support from my coworkers and just knowing that whenever people come like up to our table, like when they've seen us, they're like, oh, you guys are doing such great work. For me, it's a rewarding feeling that we are like that people actually are getting some of the resources that we provide, and it's just been a big thing for me. And um it's just crazy. And I'm not sure if I should mention this, but I met my boyfriend through this job.
Nice, nice.
Yes. So that for me has been like a huge, huge deal. And me and my boyfriend, Jeremy, we've been dating for almost a year. It'll be a year in November. So I'm excited. We kind of found each other through work and yeah, stuff.
Oh, that's great to hear. You know what, Nora? I'm very happy for you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I hope that I hope you guys. I hope you guys have a great relationship and it works out and you guys are
Yeah.
together forever.
Yeah, me too.
Oh well, honestly, you know what, Nora? I have to say, you are, in my opinion, especially for those communities that you just talked about. I have to say, Nora, you are making a difference. You are the reason. You are the light in many people's eyes. I'm just going to say it to you right now. You really are. I think you. Honestly, I'm very proud of you. You're doing great work. You really are.
And for me, like I said, with my class being only like eight of us, six boys and two girls, I'm actually one of actually only girl in my program. So I kind of had to kind of not really be more masculine, but I've kind of had to like, not let things get to me and be a lot more like, be like, I'm not gonna let these boys, bully me or whatever.
Yeah, you can't let them walk all over you. No.
Exactly. And for me, it's just like I kind of had to like get like a tougher skin and just
Exactly.
so it's like this job has taught me a lot, which is crazy. Oh, I can't believe it. And I love it. And just going in because a lot of our where we go to places like are in Spanish, me and my friend Tyler, I'm trying to learn a little bit more Spanish. I was fluent when I was younger, but then I kind of lost it all through high school. And now I'm starting to pick it up. Like I can pick it up a little bit, but it's just like I can't speak it. So it's like I've been trying to kind of teach myself Spanish a little bit more because it's just we need it so much because we used to have three ambassador programs, used to, but now we're down to just our especially on the ambassador program. So now we don't have like people to translate for us. Now we don't have drivers because a lot of us don't drive. So it's like
I
we've kind
see.
of learned how to make make things work. But when with the two ambassador programs, they ended at the end of September. It was definitely a big transition for all of us. We kind of had to be you. We kind of had to think we had we had to learn how to get places on our own. Be like, okay, this is happen. This event is happening in Concord. How do we get there? How do we get our equipment from the office? So it was definitely a huge transition when that happened. So
I imagine a lot of, any transition has, of course, a lot of planning involved, a lot of changes.
oh yeah, it was definitely changing. But now that our boss Nicola has been super supportive of us, we now have a lot more support staff, and it's just like I think we want to grow as a program for sure, but it's the thing is we're based on grants, and our grant is only I think if I have to figure out, but our grant is only available to December of next year, so it's like I think our boss will definitely prepare us for when we do have to transition out of this program, but it's going to be a while. But for now, I'm just going to try to, help as many people as I can until our grant runs out.
That's about all you can do. I mean, grants never usually last
Yeah.
forever, so that's kind of how that
Yeah.
one rolls. I'm sure I'm pretty confident that you guys will figure it out. Seems like you have a pretty solid program and a solid team of
We
individuals
do.
there.
We do. And I do have like my LinkedIn, which I told Jeremy, I was like, babe, you got to get a LinkedIn because LinkedIn is like how people are going to find you.
Yes, it's one of the best resources. I've always loved LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah. So have I.
So Nora, I this will probably be one of my final questions before we go off air. But so this is more of a fun question. Do you have any like special hobbies or interests outside of your job and about everything else?
I love taking walks like around the neighborhood. I am such a foodie. I think that also comes from my boyfriend. My
Yeah.
my boyfriend used to be a prep chef at P.F. Chang's and they closed in Walnut Creek, and then he found this job. And I started like I've been getting like every date night or whatever. Whenever we have date night, whether it be doesn't matter. But I'm such a foodie. Like I love trying new restaurants. I love trying new recipes. I'm like okay, but I'm like sometimes my boyfriend will be like, "Oh, you want to try this?" I'll be like, "Okay, I'm not really interested in that." But I've started expanding my palate a lot more, which is really good. I love
That's
cooking.
good.
I love like cooking, and I love taking walks with my boyfriend and just taking just walks. Yeah, so those are my two favorite things when I can, when I'm
Well,
not working.
those are two pretty those are pretty two pretty solid pastimes right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, if there was anything, this is kind of a tough question, but I'm just going to throw it in there anyhow. I've asked some of my other guests this, and it's always kind of turned out funny. So,
Okay.
if there is, is there one thing about you that you'd be willing to tell us that like either no one knows about or like very few people know about you?
Um, Probably for me, a lot of people think I'm not afraid to admit this. I'm proud. A lot of people when they first get to know me, like I'm high functioning autistic, and then that's a big one for me because they don't think, oh, you don't look autistic. Or for me, I'm adopted from Japan. I'm 100% Japanese. I was adopted at 6 months from Japan, and this last summer I was able to go back there for the first time since I was adopted, and I loved it. And it was such a culture shift for me because growing up in the US, I was like, I've been here for most of my years.
Uh huh.
I've been here for since I was one, so it's almost 30 years. Gosh darn, I feel like so like old right now saying that, but it's like I'm just like when I went to Japan, it was like a whole different culture that I didn't grow up with. Like I grew up totally being a full on American, I and then going back to my old culture, and I was like, we were doing calligraphy with this group that I was went with Japan with, and it was so different than what I'm used to. And I was like, whoa, I could have been learning this growing up, but now it's like, I've been like, growing up, yeah, like it was definitely a culture shock to me.
Yeah, I can imagine honestly, because like the American culture is, and the way we live, the way we are as Americans here in America is much different than Japan or anywhere else. But I actually never knew that you were originally from there. That's very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I loved it. And then also I didn't realize for me it's kind of more culture shock, but I didn't realize how like I take public transportation like BART, Caltrain, etc. But then I didn't realize how clean the Japan like train stations are. Like it's crazy compared to the US, which
Yeah,
is
they're
crazy
very
for me.
clean.
Very. So it's like that was a different culture shock for me. And then also the jet lag hit me hard on the way back. I think I landed around 6 p.m. California time, and then I fell asleep in like 2 hours. My mom's like, "You want to go get some dinner?" I'm like, "Unless you want me to be extremely tired and falling asleep at dinner, then I wouldn't." So that was a because I was
Jet
so
lag will do
tired.
that to you.
I think I ate like half my dinner, and then I was like, "Mom, I'm headachy and I'm kind of dizzy." And my mom's like, "You're probably jet lagged." I'm like, "No kidding." So that was kind of a big shock for me. And with work, like they're like, I come back from my parents because I stayed back to my parents because they live so close to the airport that I do in Concord. Um, my parents, they were like, yeah, the like work called, texted me the next day. It's like, do you want to do a CPR class? The day when you get after you get home from your parents. I was like, what? I'm like, okay. So I did that. So like work didn't waste any time getting in contact with me when I was off when I got back home from my parents after my Japan trip. So that was a big thing for me. I was like, that was a big kind of not really a shock, but it was like it's kind of a major surprise for me. So that was huge.
Yeah,
So you're like, you want to work? I'm like, sure, why not? I need the hours. I need them. I need the hours. So,
that's
yeah,
fun. That's funny.
yeah, so that was a big kind of a surprise to me when work was like, "Do you want to learn how to become a CPR certified?" I was like, "Sure, why not? I'll just be extremely exhausted." Yeah.
That is funny right there. That sounds like that was definitely huge. That was definitely huge for you.
Yeah.
I can tell. I can tell.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, it's great. It's great to have experiences like that. That's just incredible.
Yeah.
What's so interesting, Nora, is so after I just asked you our last question, in the beginning when you were talking about being, having high functioning autism, I believe it or not, I can't relate to you more on that because I myself am high functioning autistic, and I get the exact same thing all the time.
Exactly.
Nobody,
They're
I
like,
don't
"You
like
don't
look
even
at me.
look autistic."
I don't look autistic, and so
Yeah, they're
when I
like,
tell people I'm autistic, they're like, you're autistic? You don't look
yeah, like I
autistic."
get the same response. Like my boyfriend was like, when he found out I was autistic, he's like, "Huh? You're autistic?" Like
He was
like,
shocked,
what?
huh?
I was like, yeah.
It's a shock. It really is, and it's
It's
like,
a shock to a lot of people, but then it's like, you know, and for me, like whenever people, I usually kind of wait for me. Like I don't admit, like, well, with teachers in school when I had school, I would tell them like I'm high functional autistic, and they're like, "I didn't know that." I'm like, yes, because and I learn things differently. Like the thing about being autistic is like I used to be ashamed of it because I used to get bullied a lot being
same
autistic, but
here all the time.
yeah, exactly. But now it's like I'm not afraid, but it's like when I make new friends, I'm like, my friend Tyler was like, until you told me, I never knew you were autistic. I was like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, because you know, I look like a normal person. Like, for example, like Down syndrome, they have certain physical like features that look that people know that they have Down syndrome.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because the thing is like Number one, you have to get to know them, and then number two, I don't really. I'll be honest with you. Like, I've always had a hard time with it, but the thing is, I've kind of, being that I don't look autistic, I've learned to accept that not everyone's gonna know unless you tell them. But the thing for me,
Exactly.
the hardest part for me, honestly, was that being that I am autistic, and you probably relate to this as well, what I'm about to say, is that there are things that I struggle with and I learn differently than a lot of other people, and sometimes they don't understand that. And that is the hardest thing.
Yes, I totally agree. Like, my parents growing up, I'm not saying they weren't supportive. Yes, they are really supportive of me. But the thing is, like, some they can't relate because they're not autistic. Like, they don't have the mind of an autistic person. But I keep telling them, everyone's like, there are different ways. Like, for me, I struggle with eye contact. Like, and I get
Same
really
here.
nervous and shy when I am just starting to learn, like, know that person. I won't look at them. I'll admit that because it's like I'm nervous, and that's where, like, the autistic thing. I have anxiety. So the thing is, like, I warn people, like, when I'm making, like, for example, my friend Tyler, I told him, I'm like, I'm autistic. I may not look at you until I get comfortable with you. That's just my autism coming out. And, like, a lot of autistic people, they think, oh, you're autistic, you're a picky eater. And I'm like, I just don't like textures of food. Certain foods I can't stand the texture of. And it's an
I'm the
autistic.
exact same way. I have trouble with food
Exactly.
textures as well. I have trouble with that. I've had trouble with eye contact. Well, I never realized, like, in so many ways how alike you and I are. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my boyfriend's the same way. Like, he's autistic, but then it's like he can't stand the taste of eggs. I'm like, I'm the same way. Like, we connect on that. And, like, we have little quirks. And I feel like me and my boyfriend, the thing is with me, Jeremy and I, we like, we're like, oh, does this bother you? Blah, blah, blah. Or, like, we communicate, like, with each other when we're upset with each other. Like, for me, Jeremy, no, dating Jeremy for a year now, we kind of know each other's quirks. So it's like, he knows that if I'm not talking to him, he gets mad at me. He's like, did I do something wrong, babe? And I'm like, no. When I get anxious, I tend to shut down. So it's like, that's the thing. Is like, with me and Jeremy, like, we communicate really well with each other. So it's like,
That's a good thing.
yeah. So it's like, if I'm upset with him, I'll tell him directly. I won't beat around the bush with him. Yeah,
Really.
like, I feel like with me and my ex would just wouldn't tell me when something was bothering him that I was doing. And it's like, I told him, I was like, I'm not a mind reader. I have no way in telling when you're upset with me. So it's like, I told him that straight up. And I was like, that's also part of the autistic side of me. I'm directly honest with people.
Oh my gosh, the exact same thing. I haven't had, I haven't had many girlfriends in the past, but I had one a few years ago. And my ex did the exact same thing. Like, whenever I did something that bothered her,
Yeah,
she would never tell me about it. It was the exact same thing. And then
exactly.
I'd feel bad because she'd be all upset and everything, but like you said about your situation, I'm not a mind reader, so there's really nothing I can
Exactly.
do if you don't communicate with me. And then in the end, she went and cheated on me because of it. Unbelievable.
That's so stupid. Like, for me and my ex, like, we're still really good friends, but then it's like, he's a good friend of mine, but the thing is, he doesn't know where he wants to do with his life. And that's my thing. Is like, my mom was like, you need a guy who has ambitions, who has goals with his life, who, has some drive to him. I feel like my ex.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. And that's what Jeremy, like, my boyfriend Jeremy, he wants to get back in the culinary because that's where his heart, because of his prep, being a prep chef at PF Chang's, he wants to be. He told me he might want to open up his own restaurant. I'm like, that would be really cool.
That would be awesome.
And I'll support you, Jeremy, wherever you go. And, if this job, like, let's say we don't have this, we're not going to have this job forever, like I said. But the thing is, I'll support you and we'll be there for each other no matter what. And, the fact that my parents actually like my current boyfriend, Jeremy, I'm really happy about that. So
That's a good sign. If your parents like them, that's a really good sign. I love how much support you guys have for each other.
yeah, and like the thing is, he'll make me laugh. Like I remember the first time we hung out. It's crazy. But the first time we hung out, he made some smart ass comment. I almost choked on my boba tea, and I was like, he's like, "Babe, you okay?" And I was like, "No." You made me laugh, and every time I start drinking something and I'm around him, I'm like, "Babe, I'm drinking. Don't make me laugh. I will choke." I'm like, God damn it. He's made me choke on water, my energy drink, start coffee. And I'm just like, every liquid, he'll say some smart ass comment. And I'm just like, really, babe? I'm drinking. And I'm so,
I know it shouldn't be, but that's actually funny.
it is funny. I'm sorry I'm laughing, but he'll say like some smart ass comment. And I'm like, babe, did you not realize I was drinking? And he's like, damn it, Jeremy. It's really funny. I'm like, babe, look around you before you start making some smart ass comment. I'm not kidding.
Like quit with the smart ass comments, or I'm gonna deck you. I'm sick of this.
Right? Like, oh my god, like he'll make some smart ass comment. Like, I can't remember what he said a couple days ago, but I was going to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
He knows the chiropractor's the chiropractor's his buddy. And he was getting adjusted, and he made some smart ass comment, and I was sitting there like, really? I'm just like, really, babe? You made me laugh in front of him? Really? I was like so mad. I was like, really, babe? I was like, damn it.
It was like as if you felt like you were being put on the spot in a way.
He does. My boss does that sometimes too. My boss puts us on the spot, which I don't mind at this point now. She's been my boss for 2 years. But it's like when Jeremy puts you on the spot, I'm like, God damn it, babe. I was like, damn it. I was like, damn it. I was like, damn it, babe. I hate when you put me on the spot. He's like, I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing it. And I was like, babe. Dang
Stop
it.
Exactly. That is funny. That's actually really funny.
I love my boyfriend. And for Halloween this year, because my apartment is crazy. It's so secure. But what we're gonna do, since we're both working that night, we're just gonna order pizza and just hang out. That's probably what we're gonna do.
You guys gonna order pizza and hang out? You guys gonna be like dressing up as anything or no?
No. Especially for the next day, because we're both working at the library in Concord the next day. We're just like, both of us are just like, why are we still because we don't want to be so tired in the morning.
Well, that makes sense. That's good. That's good.
On a Thursday this year, and it's just like, why is it on a Thursday this year?
Yeah, it is on a Thursday this year. I can't wait till next year when it's on Friday.
Oh, thank God, because then they have the weekends. Like kids are gonna feel the sugar rush and.
Yeah, it'll be perfect. I have to be honest. I always hated having school the day after Halloween. It was the worst.
Yes, because like you get tired, especially when I was younger. When I was into more trick or treating, but like now it's like I'm just like, why? It's a holiday. It's like the next day, and then this weekend we're hitting daylight savings time, which sucks.
Yep, that's on Sunday. I don't even know why they still do that.
I don't even know either. I think it's stupid, and I hate it because now with my therapist, I walked to my therapist in the dark, and I'm like, I'm going to talk to my therapist on Friday. I was like, because daylight savings time is happening, I don't want to walk to Orinda from the Orinda Park Station to your office in the dark. Want to let back, especially without Jeremy there. Because Jeremy's 6'4", so.
Yeah, if anything happens to you with him, he'll kick their ass.
He will. He'll like beat the shit out of him. Yes. Yeah, and with work, which I don't understand sometimes, like we're not allowed to have pepper spray, and I'm just like, I'm on public transit, but it's like, so I'm like, that for me confuses me, and it confuses the crap out of my friend Tyler. It's like, why don't we have pepper spray? I'm like, well, we can't do anything to defend ourselves. I'm like, that's crazy.
I know you can't. I mean, it's absolutely insane the world we live in today. It's like someone can come and rob you or beat you up or touch you or whatever, and you're supposed to just sit there and take it in the ass. It's unbelievable.
I know.
It's unbelievable. You can't even defend yourself without, getting in trouble. It's crazy.
Right?
It's nuts.
Oh, yeah. Totally agree.
Well, Nora, thank you so much for being on our show today. I really,
Thanks for having me.
I really, really appreciate it. I think this was a really, really solid interview. Perhaps one of the best we've ever had. 7 episodes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Honestly, you've been one of my favorite guests so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you guys, if you are interested in being on our show in the future or know somebody that would love to come on and be a guest, please contact me on my Facebook or Instagram, or you can contact us at jgshowofficial@gmail.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and just about everything else. This show is on all platforms. Nora, thanks again for coming on. Happy Halloween, everybody. Until next time, JG Nation.